Hello, and sorry for the delay here. We're trying to get everything worked out. As you can see, our race has already started about 10 minutes ago, and our current runners are exploring the Underground Castle Part 2 of Area 1. So far you haven't missed anything really important. They did pick up a couple great swords. The Z sword, which enables them to beat metal enemies, and the recovery sword, which is a level 22 sword, but it is nice. You can pull it out, use it for some poke strats, and regain some of your life. Now the architect is being released, and we do have access to the paintbrushes, so it will be interesting to see if our runners head to Act 2 or continue with Act 1. Ben and GinTatsu2 are almost finished with Underground Castle Part 2. TheRPGchick is right behind them, and SilverStar is heading into Part 3 of our Underground Valley, which is the World of Evil painting. Hopefully you all can hear me. I'm going to continue commentary until someone tells me they can't. So if you can hear me, welcome to the semifinals of the Speed Gaming Tournament. I am your commentator, Jinxie Girl, and I'm going to talk you through what's going on here with the randomizer. So everybody's doing some item checks and looking like they're going to be finishing Act 1 before moving on to Act 2. GinTatsu2 is heading into the World of Evil painting. It looks like Ben will probably also follow as soon as he grabs his paintbrushes here from the Ivy. And the Queen is being released on SilverStar's side, which is always interesting to find because that does open up more of the world for you. You can't really do too much of Act 3 without the bubble armor, so not having that and having the Queen means you can move on to Act 4, which kind of makes your decisions a little bit easier. Okay, we are trying to get all of our technical issues fixed here, so hopefully I'm not missing any questions in the chat. I am trying my best. But as you can see, we're still just finishing Act 1, which is a very nice start because you don't really have to worry about really powerful enemies that you can't get past, and they do have the Z sword, which is going to enable them to full clear this entire first act, which is always kind of a relief. You will have to come back and check items, but knowing that you have the entire dungeon full cleared is going to make it a lot easier on the runners. Just 400 gems on GinTatsu2's side in the chest, so hopefully we start getting a little bit more materials that are going to help us beat this game. With the current releases that we have here, it's going to probably give our runners a pretty good chance. We're going to see some diverse choices here, so it's not all going to be as uniform once our runners are able to get out of Act 1. They are going to have some decisions to make, so that'll be exciting. Now, level 5 is a very important level in the early Soul Blazer game. It ups your defense and your attacks. So when you do have to move on to Act 2, you're not going to find yourself facing enemies that can kill you in one shot, and that's always nice. Rockbird being released on SilverStar's screen. Now, of course, having access to that doesn't necessarily mean we can go there because we do need the bubble armor. Which can be kind of trolly, but you're kind of happy not to see it because Act 3 is kind of very involved. There's lots of places you can go, and it's very, very time consuming. While most of the time it pays off, sometimes it just doesn't, and that can be pretty costly if you choose to go there and there's nothing there of real value. About to see our first boss, the Metal Mantis, coming up. And when you originally play this game, it seems a bit intimidating, but there are a few tips and tricks to beating it. I don't believe any of our runners are going to have a problem with that, so it'll be pretty exciting to watch. And we have the Old Woman release on SilverStar. She is now able to access Act 2. Which means that Act 1 was required to full clear before you could actually move on to the next level. So our runners have definitely made the right choice and the only choice that they had. So as soon as we finish up cleaning up these layers, we're going to move on to Act 2 and see where we go from there. Yeah, Cold One. Not too many people knew the Randomizer is pretty recent. Layhulk developed it a few months back. A few of us started playing it, and we decided to put on a tournament just to kind of show it off a little bit. We're very grateful to SpeedGaming for allowing us to show it. And, you know, if you're interested in learning it or getting the Randomizer for yourself to give it a shot, feel free to reach out to anybody that you see talking about it. I'm more than happy to help. Any of our racers are more than happy to help, and maybe you could join us for our next tournament, which would be amazing. And a silver stone from our mayor. Very nice. All of our runners will be receiving that stone, as you have to speak to him before you can progress on. We see SilverStar heading into the dreaded Act 2, but at least at level 7 and with the swords we have, it should not be a problem for our runners today. GinTatsu2 finding the medical herb, which is our tongue-in-cheek herb percent race, is kind of named because of the amount of medical herbs that you actually find through your progress of this game. You could be looking for a single item and all you're going to get is 20 medical herbs in a row. So kind of named it herb percent. We do have an herb perler that is going to go up for a raffle with our final race of the day, which will start at 3 p.m. Eastern, which we're all pretty excited about. The winner of this race will go on to face the winner of the race on SpeedGaming 2 in the finals. SilverStar still continuing exploration of Act 2, while our other 3 runners are heading to Act 2 as well. Now, in order to progress from this act, we're going to need to release the Wood Guardian, who is the tree that kind of guards over Greenwood. So our runners are currently looking for him while clearing and trying to get some more items. Now, there's a plethora of items that you can find in Act 2, so usually you find something that's going to help your progression. Dreaded statues. Those are never fun to find when you are running this randomizer. Sometimes you have a plethora of them, other times it's not as bad. But given the equipment that they have early on, even though they don't really have any armor, just having the Z sword and the having the Z sword and the recovery sword is going to make it a lot easier. Not really sure what's going on today, but I'm just going to try and commentate through this, so hopefully you guys don't miss anything as we keep trying to get through this tournament. SilverStar fighting some statues to get to one of the first items in Act 2. Hopefully it pays off, because the statues are not fun, as we've already discovered. Still fighting off those statues, and it's finally paid off, and we receive the Thunder Ring, which we will not have to use the Thunder Ring today, as we already have the Z Sword to kill those metal gorillas. And a boy being released on SilverStar's screen, which that NPC is not useful. However, the pathway it creates is very, very important, as it gives you access to the Gnome King, who contains the Dancing Grandmas, which without the Dancing Grandmas and your 3 red hot items, you are not going to gain access to Death Toll, which is our final boss in the race. The Z Sword came very, very quickly. We found it in Act 1, one of the first chests that we opened. Always exciting. And we also got the Recovery Sword, which is not a required sword, and level 22, you can rarely swing it until you're very, very late in the game, but you can still use poke strats with it, which will replenish your life as you go, so it's pretty exciting. It's definitely a nice safety to have in the game, and you're so rarely given it. SilverStar releasing Durian, which once they have the bubble armor, they will be able to access it, as we have already released Rockbird. There are 4 mermaid statues that you can release in Act 3, Bluster, Rockbird, Ghost Ship, and Durian. However, without Rockbird, you cannot access Ghost Ship or Durian. So it's kind of nice not to release Rockbird super early, because that means you really don't have to worry about the other acts there, but It's definitely a sign that there's probably going to be something of value there, and our runners would probably do best in checking it out once they receive the bubble armor. You start to learn the more you play the game that there are some useless NPCs, and then there are NPCs that don't give items, but you need them for progression. Like the cat that was just released does not give you anything, but once you take them out the room, you gain access to a little mouse hole where there are 2 potential items that could be there. And a red hot stick on SilverStar's screen, which is one of the 3 required items that you need to give the dancing grandma so that they can load Death Toll in the World of Evil. And the Lucky Blade also being found. That gives us access to Loon, which is one of the areas as a speedrunner you kind of don't want to see pop up in the rando. It's very time consuming and most of the time doesn't pay off, but every once in a while it is important. Most racers put off going to Loon as much as possible just because it takes a lot of time. So Lionel and Loon are 2 places you really don't want to have access to, and unfortunately our racers at 26 minutes in have both items that they need to access both of those spots. And the Wood Guardian being released. Now that means that SilverStar is going to have the option to go to Act 3 and now Act 4 because we have already released the Mermaid Queen. If the runners do not find the Greenwood Leaf, they're not really going to have a choice. They are going to have to leave this area as you need it to gain access on the rafts that take you to the Light Shrine. Yeah, there's definitely some items that you see that give you progression and others that don't. But it does play similarly to A Link to the Past, wherein you need certain items for certain things. Soul armor found in the Fire Shrine, which all of our runners are probably going to get super early, and that's a very nice safety to have. You need 3 required items in weapons, magic, and armor, and one is the soul armor, or you can't get through the World of Evil. You can go through Dazzling Space, but to actually get into the screen before Death Toll, if you don't have the soul armor, you are killed fairly quickly. The King being released on GinTatsu's side. Ben and RPGchick not far behind. So we will probably see some divergence here shortly. Now that there is access to so many worlds, we have access to World 3 and World 4. However, we can't complete much in World 3, but there is an area, Southida, I'm not very good at pronouncing it, that you will always have access to, even if you have not released the Queen yet. Most of our runners will probably do that before they progress on to World 4, but you never know. Super Bracelet is very exciting to find. That means that there probably going to have a little bit easier of a time getting through different worlds. The game being very, very generous with the nice safety items that they're giving out early on. Fire Shrine takes a little bit more time than the other levels here in Act 2. It is a big commitment, but it's fairly easy to do, very uniform in the way you walk around it, and it's always one of the choices most runners make to do it, because you do usually find items of value or items of progression, so definitely think that doing the Fire Shrine is a good idea at this point. And it's very important today, that is our other dancing grandmas. So we have the king, 2 grandmas, and part of our pathway ready, which is always pretty good because sometimes you find yourself with everything you need to go and finish the game. However, you don't have access to the king or the grandmas, so it can get a little frustrating. So having those things released early is kind of a good indication that you're going to find that pretty quickly. So that might not be one of the things that you have to go hunting for, because sometimes you can kind of forget you don't have that pathway, so you run back all excited to finish the game only to find out you're blocked. So hopefully none of our runners today do that. And our soldier release telling us that Dr. Leo is in the laboratory basement. Now that is interesting, because to gain access to Dr. Leo, he of course is found in Act 6, Magrid's Right Tower, which you need the VIP card to access. Leo does carry an item, more often than not a useful one, but we have seen in the tournament so far that Leo is actually required, and it actually stumped some of our runners for a little while, because you usually don't want to do the whole Leo sequence. It is one of the longest sequences in the game, but it can be important, as we saw. Most of the time not, but sometimes leaving Leo is a mistake. And the Queen being released on SilverStar's screen. The Queen is actually a very terrible person. She's very conceited, and you have to tell her she's pretty for her to give you an item. Always upsetting when you find a chest and it says nothing inside. The soul armor was actually in the Fire Shrine chest. The first one, when you go in, you defeat one of the enemy layers, and a chest appears. Now, this is as far as SilverStar is going to be able to go currently in Act 2. They can release this layer down this staircase, kill off the silver scorpions, and check the jewel, but then that is as far as we're going to go, as we have not found the greenwood leaf yet. So this jewel does not contain the Greedwood leaf. We're going to see SilverStar leave here, speak with the Wood Guardian, check any items that he has released, and he gets the red hot ball. Wow. From the chest in this fire shrine. Act 2 is being very, very generous today. And SilverStar heading to Act 3, where he will where she will speak to the Queen and gain access to Southra and get an item. And it's bubble armor. So now this is where we're going to see some divergence. SilverStar could choose to go through some of this Act 3. Now, we still need a mermaid to be released so that we have access to the outside of the seabed. But I have a feeling we're probably going to see that relatively soon. When you get the bubble armor, you kind of get access pretty quickly. Which act is typically the toughest? For me, I find Act 2, low level, no armor or a decent sword, the hardest of the game. It's the most challenging early on. I don't know if there's more levels that are more tedious than difficult. If you're in Act 4 with no magic, that's a little trolly. There's some wizards there that kind of like to give you a little bit of a trouble. If you don't have magic, to kind of clear them out before they spawn and start going crazy. But I would definitely say that Act 2 is probably the most challenging in the entire game, especially early on. Now, today we're not seeing that because our runners were lucky enough to get really awesome items to kind of get through. So it's doesn't seem to be a problem for them today, unlike it was for me in my race. It was dreadful. SilverStar releasing a useless mermaid. You don't ever have to go talk to her. Opening up Rockbird on GinTatsu2's side. Then grabbing the red hot ball. And TheRPGchick continuing with the basement. This section right here for SilverStar is always so laggy and made it through really great. Now that layer that was just opened, that mole hole, you actually take that little mole that was standing all by herself and you lead her there and you do get an item. Poor thing doesn't realize she's dead, and then you take her down to the brand new homeowner who is terrified. Some very dark elements in this game, actually, but it's still fun nonetheless. Guess it does sound a little bit like an insult. And Spark Bomb given from the Wood Guardian. It's not the worst magic, but it is definitely not the best. But when you go to Act 4, it's definitely going to help out a little bit. So, I mean, it's better than nothing, right? We can't be beggars, can't be choosers. We can't be greedy about it. SilverStar about to finish up Southra. More than likely heading on to Act 4 after this. Not really much else they can do. And the tool shop owner's son being released, he also has an item. He's kind of a little brat, but he does sometimes give you something valuable. And SilverStar heading to Act 4, the Mountain of Souls. The Actina leaf being given by the hidden little snail there, that is going to help us in the laboratory, which is Act 5. You lead out 2 cats and then the little mouse that's scared of everything because, you know, he doesn't want to get eaten. I get it. Moves out of the way where you gain access to a mouse in there that has an item, and then out through the little cubby hole where there is a very generous plant that more often than not gives you a medical herb, but sometimes it's something really, really good. And the goat's food being found on GinTatsu's side. Now, that is one of the best hints you can get in the game. You do have to release the hungry goat, but if you give him the food, he will give you the exact location of either the soul blade, the soul armor, or the phoenix. So if you're kind of hunting down one last required item, and it happens to be one of those 3, you have a good chance that he's going to give you the location of it. Now, this will be interesting to see where SilverStar decides to go, because this is where those mushroom shoes come into play. We're going through Lionel. Is a pretty big decision. It is a very big time suck, but getting the mushroom shoes super early is usually a pretty good indication that you're going to have to do it. Now, SilverStar using some magic strats there to take out those odd little Santa reindeer ghost guys. They are pretty powerful and they can cause a lot of damage. They're not a very fun enemy to fight, so using those magic strats is definitely nice to do. And an awful angelfish that does nothing for you in that hidden layer there. Now you're going to see some of our runners skipping some layers because they're not important. And what those layers actually do is open pathways to different areas. The 2 that was skipped right there open up just slides that go up and down from the areas you already have access to. So they are really not important. So they can go ahead and skip those. Now coming up on SilverStar's side, we're going to see the 4 chests that are going to be released here after we kind of do this little snowball trail. Sometimes it's really, really good. Other times it's really, really not. So hopefully we find something of value here. GinTatsu is right on the tail of SilverStar. Then an RPG girl finishing up part of Act 3. They will soon be following. But I definitely think we're going to start seeing some divergence here as soon as we get through this first world, because I don't believe every runner is going to go straight to Lenole here. We might have a couple, but I don't think. Oh, I'm sorry, RPGchick. That was my fault. Yeah, RPGchick is amazing. Super sweet, super talented, and she is actually the one that made our perler for the tournament. It's the medical herb, which you will probably get tired of seeing here. And she's very, very talented. She has a whole catalog of amazing artwork that she has done. So if you get a chance, make sure you check it out. And maybe stick around for the final where you'll have a chance to win the amazing perler that she made for us. SilverStar about to find the 4 chests here. That is a very important little boy to release. He is one of the two ways that you can go to get to the king. More often than not, he is the one that's actually required to get your pathway. So it is really nice for them finding these pathways here. Yes, amazing perler hype. As I missed SilverStar getting the 4 chests, but I will have a chance to catch that on GinTatsu's side. Putting on those mushroom shoes, I'm wondering if SilverStar is going to go ahead and full clear Act 4. Gem giving nothing but EXP, which is nice to find, but at level 15 you would kind of rather have an item than gems there. And a useless dog being released on SilverStar's screen. And SilverStar is making the Lenole play. Very interesting. This, you'll see here is going to be very time consuming, but it could very well pay off. Red Hot Mirror being found. And the brownstone. That is amazing. We have access to all 3 of our red hot items. That has been pretty common in this tournament. Usually you don't find all of those as quickly, especially 46 minutes in. That is pretty exciting. So once we have access to our dance, the king, the world of evil will be fully accessible. Sleeping Cat being released on SilverStar's side. That cat also contains an item. You have to access its dream with the dream rod, and then when you come out of it, you get an item, as well as the bird on Ben's screen up there is also sleeping. That gives you access to Turbo's grave, where you kind of desecrate it and go find the greenwood leaves in the vanilla game. You just walk right over his bones. It's kind of sick, but it does give you the access to the rafts in Act 2. Of course, in the randomizer, we have no idea where the G-Leaf is going to be, but that is how you get it in the vanilla game. Some magic strats with SilverStar. Those are some of those wizards that nobody likes to see, so it's nice when you do have an area where you can kind of push your magic down and get rid of them pretty easily. GinTatsu following SilverStar and going into Lenole. SilverStar battling a very, very tricky lair right there, especially with the wizard, where you have to kind of move around. The mushroom shoes actually don't help you on that particular ice. It's only in the screen that Ben is on, which doesn't make any kind of sense. Why mushroom shoes can work on one but not the other, it's just shameful. And And those bats can be quite tedious when you don't have magic, as GinTatsu is seeing. And our players currently cannot leave Act 4 without finding Gnome, so that would be why they're all going through Lenol. They really don't have a choice, which I didn't realize up until I watched them all walk into it. So don't worry, my brain's going to get on straight here at some point, and we are going to start making good commentary instead of silly choices, right? So they are all kind of bottlenecked right now. And the shy bird being released on SilverStar. That is an item-giving bird. Now this is as far as we're going to be able to go currently. In Lenol, you're going to leave here in a second, and the only other place you can go is Loon, which you do need the Lucky Blade to access. However, I don't believe we've released the little old man that's going to let us get there, so something's going to be given here. It's either going to be the bubble armor, where they're going to have to go back to Act 3, or they're going to be given access to Gnome, where they can move on to Act 5, which is our laboratory. And having the Z sword, they are going to be able to kill the monsters that are in there and continue on with their progression. And they already have the bubble armor. Never mind, a bit behind the times. But yeah, so they can either move on to Act 5 or go back to Act 3. Now, of course, if they don't have access to Gnome currently, they will have to go to Act 3. They won't have a choice. So pretty much a very, very linear seed at the moment. Luckily, the Randomizer does have an auto tracker, as you can see each of the runners using, so shouldn't have any mistakes in tracking. I just definitely need to check it before I mention about a certain armor. It's hard to kind of watch all 4 screens at the same time. You kind of miss a couple things. So please chat. If you see something in you here that I'm wrong, please shout it out. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask. If I happen to miss it, ask again. I won't be offended. I'm more than happy to answer any questions regarding the game that you guys have. Yeah, there is actually a randomizer being developed for the Illusions of Gaia, I believe. Yeah, I did. I made sure. I almost didn't, but I made sure. Royal Blue Wizard there. There's a randomizer coming out for Illusions of Gaia, which everybody's pretty excited about. Still continuing our progression through Lenol. We're just about finished with it on SilverStar's side. GinTatsu is very close behind. Slowly but steadily gaining our access to the king and the dancing grandmas, which we can fully use now. The king will give you an item after you turn in your 3 red hot items to open the World of Evil. Not sure it's quite all the way there yet. It might be, and it is. Silver Star already turning in those 3 red hot items before an hour into the game. That is exciting. And what does the king have for us today? Magic Flare, which is a much better magic than Spark Bomb. As you can see, Death Toll is being loaded up there in the world of evil. Once you have your 6 stones, you are fully capable of entering the world of evil. However, you will not be able to finish the game, as if you do not turn in those 3 red hot items, you will just get all the way through Dazzling Space and there will be nothing there at the end. So sometimes, not always, but sometimes you will have to go to the world of evil to find one of your last. Go back, talk to the dancing grandmas, and have Death Toll open. Silver Star going to check some items in Act 2. Emblem F given from the Shy Bird, and he's going to take Monmo the Ghost back home to her little lair there. And the G-Leaf from Monmo. That means we can full clear, almost, Act 2. Without the Spirit Sword or the Soul Blade, we're going to be able to beat a few layers that are in there. And the Phoenix given by Monmo's ghost protecting the other mole in there. So that is behind a fetch quest, which is Monmo's ribbon. So if they are lucky enough to find the Soul Blade, then that means they might be able to go mode the world of evil. It's kind of nice when you have your 6 required items is in the Red Hots and the Soul Blade, the Soul Armor, and the Phoenix, because then you know you don't have to full clear the world of evil. Sometimes it likes to give you the stones pretty quickly, and then you don't get to find any of your required items other than in the world of evil, and that's heartbreaking sometimes. Silver Star is going to go ahead back to Act 2 now that he has the G-Leaf, which he's making a pretty good choice here because a lot of things you need for Act 5 are being found there, like the staircase to get to the Dole Marie, who you need to speak to till you can move on to Magride's castle, and the door, purple stone given by the fairy gem right there. Now coming up, you're going to see a couple enemies that Silver Star is not going to be able to beat because they do not have the Spirit Sword or the Soul Blade. So that's a little heartbreaking to leave those behind. Just kind of have to make a mental note to go back and clear them out just in case they have important items. Those little sun things, the little sun orbs floating around there cannot be killed. And the 5 in this room give you access to a chest, and then there is also another group of them in the following room. Now, an interesting thing is there are spirits in each of the worlds, and the spirit of that world will help you progress through that specific act. Now, Act 1 spirit that you get when you first start the game is the spirit that enables you to use magic. Now, in Act 2, the spirit enables you to see in the dark of this light shrine. So probably all of our runners aren't going to bother going in to get that specific soul. He is in one of the mole holes, and you have to do the dark room, which is extremely easy to learn. Super, super simple. So they can get it if they so choose, but I don't think any of our runners are going to. And SilverStar releasing the mermaid that gives you access to the seabed. So now they can access Rockbird, Durian, Ghost Ship, and Bluster as soon as all of them are released. They can go and do the first two, of course, but the other two have not been released yet. Did not mean to attack about the room being simple, but as you can see, it's just a few movements, and there are enemy layers. If you kind of look for them, they'll give you an idea of where you need to go. Like this one opens the pathway, this one coming up down here shows you go straight down, and that's through the walkway. Now, if they had the spirit sword, they would have been killing the layers and coming back to get them later. But not having it, they don't really have to worry about it. Right there in the hole, right above GinTatsu, is where our spirit is that allows you to see in the dark. These two layers here, one is an NPC layer, the other one is a layer that takes us back to the quote-unquote master, who could probably much fix everything that's gone wrong in the game, but chooses to have you go do it for him. You'll notice that most of them are cleaning up the enemies that are around before stepping on another layer. If you kill an enemy for a monster layer and then step on another one that releases an NPC, all those enemies in the layer that you didn't full clear will respawn back. And so now there are some decisions that can be made on SilverStar's side, because we do have access to Gnome now. So they can speak to Gnome and move on to Act 5, or they could go back to Act 3 and clear Rockbird and Durian, which they have access to. And I believe that is the final staircase that we need to have full access to Marie in the lab. So that really opens up the game now, because once you have access to Marie, you can speak to her and you can move on to Act 6, which is Magritte's castle. There are 3 places that you can visit there. There is the castle basement, the left tower, and the right tower. We already have the VIP and the platinum cards on GinTatsu. Actually, everybody's side except for Ben, which I'm sure he'll find it soon because the VIP side happens to be Ben's favorite. So I'm sure he'll be looking for that. So really the game has completely opened up at this point. The only place we don't have access to on SilverStar's side, and pretty soon on GinTatsu's side, is the World of Evil. So definitely going to see some divergence now. We've been kind of bottlenecked the whole game, but now there is the basically free reign to go wherever you please at this point. TheRPGchick is going and checking all of the items that she's released. There are lots of items in Act 1 that you can get access to throughout the game, and it's easy to forget some of them. So it's always good when you've released several to go ahead back and check them, because it could very well be a required item. SilverStar heading to the lab. Now, in order to gain access to Dazzling Space, which is our final act of Soul Blazer, you first need to release King Magritte, have 6 stones, and the castle. That can sometimes be trolly, where you could release Magritte super early on in the game, but not his castle. So without being able to speak to him, you still have to continue killing layer after layer until you're able to release the soldier, remanifest the castle. Yeah, it is the jerk soldier. He wants to see King Magritte fall so that he can take over. He's not a very nice person. And Bluster being opened on SilverStar's side down in the laboratory basement. Doing a nice job of getting those robotic mice. Oh, one gets away from him, but it shouldn't be too big of a problem. Those can be extremely trolly in the game. If they get loose later on after you've opened passageways, it could just be awful to try and get them. Wow, lots of robotic mice in the lab today. You can see GinTatsu and Ben taking down those dark rooms like it's nothing. TheRPGchick picks up another stone from our gem there and starts to work on the light shrine. GinTatsu checking some of the item locations that he unlocked. And a door key from the mermaid. Now that door key can come into play in the laboratory. There is a chest of drawer that gives you an item, but then you push it to the left and it will give you another item, which is something some people forget sometimes. So it's can come back to bite you if one of your stones or required items that is in there. Ben going down to talk to Gnome. And it looks like Loon is now available for SilverStar. That little old man will not let you pass unless you have the Lucky Blade, which all of our runners currently have. So that is another option for them. So we have Act 3 and Act 4 that can be accessed, as well as Act 5 and Act 6. Yes, Amazing Toaster. I actually quit a race because I did not know that you could push that, and it was containing one of my stones. That is also one I will never forget. Purple-haired mermaid not giving any of the goods today, just a medical herb. And on his way to talk to Marie and start in the lab. And GinTatsu is heading towards Act 3, the water, the seabed. Yeah, I apologize. My chair is very loud and I seem to only fidget on it when I am talking. So there's that. That mouse right there is an item-giving mouse, and they do have the Actina leaf. So once the cats are released, you can take them out of the room and gain access there. So now the divergence is happening. We see GinTatsu doing the seabed, Ben and SilverStar in the lab, and wonder where RPGchick is going to head after this. So now that there is some divergence, I'm sure I'm going to miss some things. So I'm going to try my best to keep up with all the screens, but if I miss something, shout it out so I can have my commentary correct. Haven't found too many emblems yet. I think the most we have is 3. We could end up with what is called in the Soul Blazing Rando community a pedestal seed. There is a deer in Act 2 that you release him as well as an alligator, and he goes and hits into one of the trees and a gem falls down. If you have all 8 of those symbols, then you receive a reward. In the vanilla game, you get the magic bell, which when equipped, you can use any amount of magic that you want, and it doesn't cost anything. As you see, SilverStar actually just equipped it to use magic, you know, as much as you want, and it doesn't cost any of your gems. And but in the rando, it could give you anything from a medical herb to a strange bottle to a stone or the soul blade or something required. So it's always in the back of your mind that, you know, keep track of how many of them you have, because it could be very, very important. GinTatsu is working on, I believe he is in Durian. Yes, he is in Durian. Now, the souls we talked about earlier, there is an angelfish soul that you can get that will protect you from the falling rocks that you see here. It's kind of dropping lava. I don't think I've ever seen anyone pick it up in the randomizer. It's kind of a useless one, but he hides over by the chest in the mermaid layer that allows you to gain access to the seabed. Not a very important one, but you know, kind of like a little filler in the game. That's one of the souls. In the lab, there's a door soul that allows you to see the invisible enemies in the models. So that one's kind of nice to have sometimes, because you can have kind of some trolly characters that you can't really get. It just makes it a little bit faster. In Act 5, there is a soldier who's actually a soul, and you can see the hidden passageways and chests that are hidden throughout the basement and the left and right tower. RPGchick is in Act 3 currently. It looks like she may be heading to the seabed. Okay, and SilverStar heading down to the boss of the laboratory. Okay, and so far during our tournaments, Durian has been pretty significant in go mode and different different importances. Some stones, a couple times it's had other required items. And Lisa being released on Ben's side. Delicious seeds being found over in Bluster for RPGchick. That gives us access to 2 items given we have released the 2 squirrels. SilverStar heading into the models. Does not appear that our spirit door has been released yet, but there shouldn't be a problem. And a medical herb for GinTatsu2. Still no sign of the soul blade yet. Those are 2 items there. In that room for SilverStar, the sleeping cat and the plant both give items. And a nice death warp from GinTatsu2 to get out of Jurian. Looks like they're going to head down to Rockbird. Soulblade and Model Town 2, thank you, Amazing Toaster. So now all that SilverStar has to do is hunt down King Magrid and his castle and 3 more stones, and they are in go mode. That's pretty exciting. Having the Soul Blade, the Soul Armor, and the Phoenix means that you can use the Phoenix magic. Now, it typically takes 1 gem, but having the magic bell, you could just fire at random. The model towns are pretty much my go-to place. I always find good stuff in there and in the basement of a Grid Castle. And we see RPGchick releasing our Hungry Goat, which will give you the hint on where the Soul Armor, Soul Blade, or Phoenix is. Always nice to have that. Flame Ball from the chest, Harpstring from Marie. A strange bottle and delicious seeds in Rockbird. SilverStar heading to the castle now. Critical sword under the guard's feet, not necessary at this moment. Now the interesting thing is, being level 18, you are unable to swing the Soul Blade, so using the Phoenix is not going to work unless SilverStar decides to grind up the levels, but I don't feel like they're going to do that today. Pretty well set with magic and everything else that they could use. Switching quickly to that power bracelet, the super bracelet, which is going to make this castle pretty easy here. And the second cat being released. Another model town being released on GinTatsu's side. Yeah, the goat doesn't always give the most convenient hints. Sometimes it does, though. It's always nice to have it in your back pocket that you might be able to get something decent there. Some decent information that you don't currently have. Then, finishing up the boss of the lab. RPGchick checking out to see what the sleeping cat has. Ooh, just a medical herb. Be pretty surprised if Ben didn't head to Act 6 after this instead of doing Act 3. He typically tends to move forward instead of backwards. So we will see what decision he makes. RPGchick checking out those models. She's going to be very excited when she pulls out that soul blade. So get 2 chests as well as an NPC release, Spirit Sword, and 12 gems, which Spirit Sword would have been a little more useful, but we have this soul blade now, so there is nothing standing in our way. I'm surprised. Looks like Ben is going to be checking out Act 3. Yeah, as you can see where SilverStar is, it's kind of a hidden passage there. If they had the soldier, it would show them access to it. Once you play the game a couple times, you pretty much learn where all the places you need to go are, and they're not super hidden, so it is a little easier to access. Now, coming up, we're going to have 2 more chests, as well as the airship, where you can defeat the bird boss, which is one of the worst bosses in the game. Not so much for difficulty, it just takes forever. Emblem G from the dolphin chest. Leaves Ben with 3 emblems, as well as GinTatsu. The sleeping mushroom has not yet been released for Loon. And what do these 2 chests have for us today? A medical herb and 200 gems. Right Tower is not paying off as it usually does, but we're still pretty close to go mode, so... Now these hidden, these little enemies here you have to kill for the layer that opens access to your save point, which is always nice to have in case you don't have Leo, his 2 soldiers, or the mobile key yet. SilverStar continuing on to the airship. GinTatsu entering the second model town. And we are doing the Leo sequence on SilverStar's side. Now this is a bit of a time commitment, but it can pay off because you get an item from Leo as well as the Evil Queen. Yeah, this is where you find out that the Queen is kind of responsible for every horrible thing that's happening, and now she's marching in his daughter. But luckily, she's pretty easy to negotiate with, and she lets her go without a fuss. And it is just a medical herb for the Leo sequence today. Leo sacrificing himself to rid the world of evil so that you can finish through the game and take out Death Toll to restore peace to the land. The creepy dancing chest of drawers being released on RPGchick's side. Mystic armor found in the Queen's house after her demise. Now, the important thing to know is the queen will give you 2 items. Once when you talk to her and tell her she's pretty. That will never be a required item because sometimes you talk to Leo before you release the queen. So you're not always going to find value there. However, it could be one of the power bracelets. So it is nice to check her just in case, especially if you don't have the super bracelet or any of the power bracelets yet. When you come back after the Leo sequence, she could have a required item. So she is important to check then for sure. Emblem B in the basement of the castle. There are several items in the basement, so it is a very, very good place to check, especially when you're only missing a couple things. Yeah, sometimes there's nothing there under the queen, just like sometimes the harp string soldier doesn't have anything under his feet, so it's kind of hit or miss. RPGchick with a nothing chest and 80 gems. But here is going to be one of our crystals that can give us an item, as well as there's one other chest towards the end of this model town. And just a medical herb from the gem. Silver start gaining levels fairly quickly. These enemies have pretty high XP. Now over there you can see some skeletons in a hidden room over on SilverStar's side. If you defeat that enemy layer, there is a magic gem there, and it will give you the location of either the Lucky Blade, which gives you access to Loon, or the Spirit Sword, which enables you to kill more enemies, especially in the basement, as well as in Act 2. Now here is a hidden chest on SilverStar's side. There's a few of them through here. There's actually 3 chests that are hidden, unless you have the spirit that shows you them. Yes, amazing toaster. Level 4 is needed to swing the Soul Blade, which gives you access to the Phoenix. There are several spots where you can grind out those levels fairly quickly. In Act 2, there are spikes that give you 3,000 XP. That one takes a little while, but if you are in the world of evil, all of those enemies are between 2,800 and 3,000 points. And there's also a spot that Hope left where there's these walls that kind of fall down, and there's 3 of them. They're 4,000 XP each, so you can continue to go in and out of the portal, and they reload, so you can level up fairly quickly there. And as you can see, that is our alligator that leads to our pedestal on SilverStar's screen. All we need is the deer, and then we can find out if that deer is holding a gem or not. A gem. If the gem is holding a stone or not, and it would turn our Go mode on its head, because then you would need to find the other emblems, which seem to be very elusive today. And the mobile key being found in the secret chest on SilverStar's side. Yeah, spike leveling early in Act 2 is very nice, especially if you start on level 2, you can kind of grind up at least to level 19, which is fairly quick. The levels between 23 and 24 just feel like they take forever. It's almost, I think, a 4-minute commitment to go from level 19 to 24. So, I mean, sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. The Sleeping Tree Trunk being released on SilverStar's side. Right now, I would say SilverStar is probably in the lead, just because all SilverStar really needs is King Magritte, the castle, and 2 more gems to go ahead and fight Death Toll. But again, if it's a pedestal seed, it could completely change the game. You know, because SilverStar only has 2 emblems and the others have 3. Two others have 3, and it could really be anyone's game at this point. But for the moment, I would say that probably SilverStar is in the lead. Been releasing the Ivy that the Past Kid protects. That is also an item. An easy one to forget. Well, thank you for joining us, Fishy. If you like what you're seeing, feel free to reach out to any of the runners or myself or any of the commentators here in the Soul Blazer Rando. We're more than happy to help teach you the game, the spots that you need to know, and everything. We're more than happy. The Sleepy Mushroom being released on RPGchick's side, that leads to an item as well as an enemy layer that releases an NPC. So that could be very important. That was actually one of the Go Mode items in our race last night. It's pretty comparable, I would say, to the A Link to the Past. I find Soul Blazer a little easier to really get down. It's easier to see improvements in your battle technique and things like that. It's a little more time consuming than A Link to the Past is. There's more required items that you need, but it's definitely fun because I do play the Link to the Past Rando as well as this one, and I adore both of them. They're both really, really fun. Just a medical herb from the hungry squirrel, but his buddy in there could have something required. GinTatsu is battling those invisible enemies, which if you have the door spirit, you would be able to see. Which makes it a little more difficult, but again, you kind of get an idea of where they all are through playing the game, so it's not that big of a deal. TheRPGchick now joining the Act 6 crew. And Lisa over on SilverStar's side, who has just been woken up abruptly by a stranger poking her in the head with a magic wand. And the Soul Blade for GinTatsu, who I'm sure is very excited to find that, as well as the Shield Bracelet. But with the Super Bracelet, you don't really care too much to see. That's still a nice item nonetheless. RPGchick in the basement, who now has all 3 of her required items. Let's see what Lisa has for us today. Oh, just a useless dancing mermaid. Now RPGchick has caught up with SilverStar. Emblem C with Lisa. So if it is a pedestal seed, then Lisa was definitely required. We shall see. Light arrow from the plant on GinTatsu2, which in my opinion is the best magic. Very exciting to find that. It just makes everything a whole lot easier. And a death warp on Ben's side. The castle has been released. All we need is King Magrid and 2 more stones for RPGchick to be in go mode. Lag arrow. Sometimes it's lag arrow, especially in the model towns. But most of the time, it's just very, very nice. Ben purchasing a strange bottle for $1 billion from the snotty tool shop kid. Checking out to see what that gem has here. And just a medical herb. Looks like Loon might be the play today, as we are missing 2 stones currently, as well as King Magrid. Our castle item is just a medical herb. We also have the mobile key on SilverStar's side. That could potentially lead to an NPC that has an item. Now right there, that sleeping dolphin, if you give him the big pearl in his dream, that gives you access to 4 extra chests in Ghost Ship. Then finally getting his dream rod and his ice armor. Ben is going to be completing the Lisa sequence that will give him his 4th emblem. And SilverStar heading into the seabed. Yeah, there are definitely a lot of medical herbs throughout the game, and sometimes, especially early on in Act 2, you really like to see those because it is fairly difficult when you're low level with starter sword and no armor, so it is nice to see them. However, later in the game, really don't want to see them quite as much. Wondering if anyone is going to make that loon play. It's looking like King Magrid might be there. GinTatsu2 finding his black gem. This is the point in the game where you start to see a lot of the useless NPCs because you're kind of looking for those last few items, and the game just doesn't want to give them to you right away, so you kind of got to work for it. So Ben is currently leaving Underground Castle Part 2. Not sure where he's going to head. As GinTatsu2 battles Act 6 with RPGchick. And SilverStar is taking care of Act 3. So I do think, given what all we've seen so far, that Loon might be the play. So I feel like whoever goes to Loon is going to be very, very happy. Although there are several enemies in Act to kill because we didn't have the Spirit Sword or the Soul Blade, so that could also be something very important. Ben's gonna check Turbo's grave. There is Turbo, the beloved dog of Greenwood, who passed away. Ben's gonna go down our soul hole. You know how that sounds? That right there is our mole that enables us to see in the dark in the light shrine. Ironic, I know, but it is what it is. Not finding anything on the desecrated graves, so where shall Ben go next? RPGchick just realizing she hasn't released Leo yet, so she's gonna peace out of the VIP tower. Not sure where she's gonna head next. Ben in the model town, which he's gonna be pretty excited when he finds that soul blade. Just everybody kind of playing catch up, checking all the other places that the other runners have. Hungry Goat being released for SilverStar. As GinTatsu2 releases the pedestal alligator, Ben is still in Model Town 2, and RPGchick is down in the basement of King the Grid's castle. Yes, those fish can be quite trolly. They are a little difficult to catch sometimes, and they'll just go bouncing clear across. They get kind of frustrating. Mobile key for GinTatsu2. As SilverStar looks to be heading over towards Durian. And Ben picking up the Soul Blade. Yeah, I'm not really sure where SilverStar is going. I'm assuming Blaster. Yes. Wondering if Ben will head to Loon after seeing the sleeping mushroom. Sometimes NPCs that you release kind of remind you of areas that you really don't want to think about. Now those spikes over on GinTatsu's side can deal quite a bit of damage. However, if you have the elemental mail, you're able to put that on and walk freely through them. It will not hurt you there. The Great Door being released down by SilverStar, which is 2 possible items as soon as he releases the chest drawer. So far at an hour 45, none of our racers have posted a finish time. There is also another semifinal running on SpeedGaming 2. So it's pretty exciting to see who's going to play in the finals here at 3 p.m. Eastern. So while we're kind of going through the things we've already seen, I'd like to give a thanks to SpeedGaming for allowing us to stream our tournament and kind of get the word out on this great game. Layhulk for creating the randomizer and being such a big part of the community. Netta, who arranged the tournament. Estolia and Hamj, for restreaming for us, the creators of the auto tracker, and everyone else involved in this tournament. It has been a blast. It's been a great time. I hope everyone's enjoying it and kind of getting to know the game, and look forward to meeting some new people that would really like to play it. And I hope you all are enjoying it as much as we are. Oh, Ferris, I came in third. Yes, but be sure to give our runners a follow. They have worked so hard to be here and really trying to put on a good show for you. Everybody has been really, really involved in the tournament. It's been a really nice group effort. So shoot them a follow if you like what you're seeing. And, you know, again, you can reach out to any of us. We're more than happy to help you learn the game and play it so that you could be involved in our next tournament, which would be awesome. And the Dolphin Severus being released on GinTatsu's side. The saddest story in the entire game. That dolphin is actually sleeping, and when you go into his dream, you see that he and his father are actually on the ghost ship, and they are starving to death. And Severus puts his one and only possession, which is a single gem, into the chest that you find on that ship, hoping that somebody finds his last worldly possession, and it ends with them slowly dying. And it's pretty sad because the game talks a lot about reincarnation and things like that. There's actually a goat in Act 1 that is the farmer's dead wife, and she tells you, you know, I couldn't leave him, and the guys saw this goat hanging around, decided to build a pen. So there are some really strange underlying stories in Soul Blazer, but it's kind of interesting when you actually play the vanilla game and go through and read everything that everyone's saying. It's very very dark. Another pathway to the Gnome King being released on GinTatsu's side. TheRPGchick is checking in with the sleeping guard, which I don't think we've seen his item, and a medical herb. Right there, that door going to the altar of the devout mouse is the spirit you need to see the invisible enemies in the model towns. Still looking for the location of 2 more stones. They are really being shy today. I believe the places left that we have not explored yet is the left tower, which I don't believe we have access to, Loon in Act 4, Ghost Ship in Act 3, and a couple of the enemy layers that we were unable to beat in Act 2. So not too many choices left, so I'm sure we'll be seeing those explored fairly soon. RPGchick is now defeating the worst boss in the game. It feels like it takes forever. And this awful bird is finally down. We're going to release the layer, which is our spirit soldier for Act 6. This soldier allows you to see the secret passageways throughout the castle that we've already beat. So, a little bit moot at this point. GinTatsu2 heading back to the laboratory. Ben excitedly equipping his light arrow, which is also his favorite magic. And where will he head to next? The door into the item rooms is still not released yet, which one or both of our stones could be hiding there. Oh, and RPGchick is going back to find out what is in our spirit layers that we were unable to clear. This could be a pretty good play. This will release an item as well as an NPC, so this could be important. And just a medical herb. As you can see, RPGchick picked up that spirit that lets us see in the dark. So you can see exactly what you would see if you were playing the game and you had the spirit before you went through and beat the dark rooms. Could this be a useful NPC? Hopefully, this wasn't all for naught. And it is a useless bird. That is heartbreaking. Hopefully RPGchick will head to Loon, as that's a place we haven't really seen yet. They are not logically required, and they're actually not even in the logic currently. This is kind of like the beta of the randomizer, still working out a couple bugs, but the souls as well as the ice armor is not in logic currently, so very rarely will you actually get them at a point where you could use them, but that'll eventually be all taken care of. It doesn't really make a big difference in the game, especially the souls. You kind of don't even think about them when you're playing. TheRPGchick heading back to Act 3. Yeah, Eclipse. This music has been used several times by this company. They have several games. ActRaiser uses a lot of these same sounds, like the enemy being hurt and things like that. Yeah, there's Terran Enigma. There's Illusions of Gaia, ActRaiser. There's a couple more, and I can't think of which one they are. Yeah, ActRaiser has kind of the same ideas of Soul Blazer, where you're going and releasing the townsfolk and battling evil, and then I feel like they kind of just almost developed around that game for Soul Blazer. GinTatsu2 releasing Loon. Maybe he will head there. But again, Loon and Lenol are two you never want to see, but it's looking like both of them are going to be required in this race. Illusions of Gaia is actually, they're working on a randomizer for that game as well. So that should be coming out pretty soon. Yeah, I definitely got that feeling as well, Lemon. A lot of the same elements seem to be in both games, so it would make sense. Oh, and I think SilverStar is making the Loon play. Just entered the dream of that sleeping mushroom, which gives us access to another enemy layer as well as an item. I think this might be the play that does it. It's either going to open up another area or it's going to give us the last 2 stones. So here's access to one of our first chests as soon as we take care of this enemy layer. Oh, a little too close to it, and we spawn some of those wizards, taking care of the last 2. And what is in our chest? 50 gems. That was a lot of hype for nothing, but here we have another chest, so hopefully something a little better here. Things are getting a little slow now, kind of nothing new or interesting. So I'm wondering if Leo's going to be in here, not Leo, Magrid, so that we can see what his item is, and that way we can move straight onto the world of evil. It could very well be a pedestal seed. It's really up in the open at this point. A lot of the item-giving NPCs have been released, so it's getting down to like those last few item spots at this point. Not too much left to do. It's looking dangerously close to a 100% seed. That NPC that was just released finishes the trio, which gives an item in Act 2. Billy and his bandmates. Ghost Ship being released. which could possibly give us access to 6 chests if the big pearl is found, because we do have access to the sleeping dolphin. So that could be where all of our answers lie. Oh, the bats spawning one at a time makes it a little tedious, as there can be up to 12 in there. And they are invincible for the first couple seconds when they come out, but they can still hurt you, which the bats get very, very frustrating very, very quickly. An item giving gem, emblem E. That takes us up to 5 emblems on SilverStar's side. Ben currently has 5, so he will have 6 if he goes to Loon. Let's see what the sleeping mushroom is for us today, whether or not it was required. Lisa did have an emblem, but really nothing of value. So maybe this, and there is our pedestal deer. I wouldn't be surprised if we see SilverStar check that post-haste to see if we do actually have a pedestal seed, because that could definitely change the game. Oh, sorry. I was doing that yesterday too. I will slow my commentating down. Elemental Mail on GinTatsu's side, Death Warp for RPG Girl, and Ben also taking a Death Warp. Some more wizards on SilverStar's side, and more bats. So it's looking like Ghost Ship might be the play. That will give us our 4th and final level in Act 3. I believe the only thing we haven't released yet is the left tower. Speaking of the left tower. King Magrid still being elusive today. Where in the world is he? It would be really neat to see him as our go mode item. Looks like Ben is going to be heading into Loon here in a second. GinTatsu doing the Leo scene. And RPGchick in the basement of the laboratory. SilverStar taking out the spirit orbs there, which we know from RPGchick is not going to give him anything that he'd be happy to see. So we'll have Act 1 and Act 2 fully cleared. Act 4 for Ben and SilverStar will be full cleared. Probably guessing Ghost Ship soon will be full cleared. Still missing the location of 2 stones. SilverStar gonna check in with Billy and his crew, let them do their thing while he goes and checks our pedestal deer. Is pedestal required? The hype is real. And just a medical herb. Ped is dead. Yeah, Magrid could most definitely have a stone. I've seen that happen several times. I've also had a seed where I had to go through the world of evil to get the Lucky Blade to go back and complete Loom. It's not fun. But luckily, their go mode is going to be the stone, so they're not going to have to worry about clearing any of the world of evil. They're just going to be able to walk right through it to Death Toll. Other than leveling up to 24, which is super, super easy. You do have to kill several layers to get your access points to walk through it, so it's definitely not going to be difficult for them to get that last couple levels that they need. RPGchick showing those metal mice. Who is boss? GinTatsu2 picking up that critical sword, giving the harp string to the musician, which is my favorite music of the game. And SilverStar opening up Jurian and Ghost Ship. Yes, amazing toaster. Greenwood definitely has some great soil, as in all they're giving today is medical herbs. And we are giving the pearl to the sleeping dolphin. So this is now access to 4 extra chests in the Ghost Ship. So I definitely think Ghost Ship might be SilverStar's first trip before going to Jurian. Yes, will Soggy Hype Cave have the goods today? No, going down to Durian first. That is interesting. Durian is kind of another one of those worlds that you're not sad to miss. GinTatsu heading to Loon. And another stone. We are one stone and King Magritte away from finish on Silver Star's side. You can do both. Actually, I have the program downloaded on my computer, but I also generate on the website, so it's kind of whatever you're feeling. Although I have found that my seeds have been a little nicer generated from the website than the ones that I generate just from the ROM on my computer. Whether or not that's true, it's just my experience. Then releasing the left tower. Thank you so much for that link, Estolia. Still have not had anybody finish in either of the races. Tatsu releasing Ghost Ship. RPGchick opening up the other stairwell in Leo's basement. About to fight off some little mice. It's gonna be the biggest pain in the neck in the entire game. Taking them down with no problem. Then making sure he has all his pathways in Act 3 opened up. Getting his door key from the Kind Mermaid, who typically gives you a medical herb in the vanilla game. Yeah, this game was big for my dad and I. We used to play games a lot, and the Zeldas and everything like that. We were kind of looking for a game on kind of like the Order of a Link to the Past, and we came across Soul Blazer. So when I found out there was a randomizer, I was super psyched, and it definitely didn't disappoint. It is a very, very fun game, and it kind of reinvents it with the randomizer, just kind of keeping all those older games relevant, and so many people enjoying them and having fun with them. Like my kids enjoy watching it and like to learn it, so it's pretty cool that some of my generation is still exciting, even though they're younger and they have all kinds of crazy fun new games, that they'll still sit down with me and play some of the old SNES games. It's pretty exciting. Then heading up to Bluster as SilverStar continues through Durian, GinTatsu in Loom, and RPGchick in the lab. Oh yes, Lemon, we are definitely a retro household. And the big pearl on Ben's side from the generous gem. She usually has something decent. Not all the time, but every once in a while she gives you something really nice to see. And that big gem is definitely, the big pearl is definitely something nice to find, because that is 4 chests, 6 total if you have that before you go to Ghost Ship. And the Ghost Ship area is so quick to kind of clear and finish. So it's really nice to have those 4 extra chests. I love that lemon. Yeah, my oldest son plays Fortnite, and I just don't understand it, but it's a little bit too much thinking involved for me. I like the games that you could sit and play and have fun thinking through, not these ones that are so involved that it just takes a huge commitment. I like the games you know, just want to take a break and kind of enjoy. Oh, that's so awesome, Lemon. Yeah, my 5-year-old likes to play A Link to the Past rando, so I'll put it on for him, and he's actually really good. It's pretty cool watching him play, you know, such a game that I have so much love for. I have the Triforce tattooed on my wrist. Like, Zelda has always been a really big part of, like, you know, my childhood and adolescence. Kind of when you're mad at the world and everything, you just turn on a game and you feel good about it. And like I said, Soul Blazer is one that I played with my dad, so it has a lot of, you know, nostalgia for me. And so it's neat to see the younger generation still having love and respect for the older games. You know, there's a big difference between 8-bit and 16-bit and what they have now, and to know that they can still respect, you know, the vintage gaming is pretty awesome. And all we need now is King Magrid, and SilverStar is in go mode. This is where the game gets interesting, because Magrid can be anywhere. Anywhere. So now, where can Magrid be? The choices for SilverStar are really small at this point. I'm pretty sure Left Tower is all he has left after he finishes Ghost Ship, so Magrid is going to have to be there, and we'll be able to see that pretty quickly because that's where GinTatsu is right now. So Magrid is probably going to be in one of those 2 places, as we have literally checked everything else. Yes, I believe he did both model towns. I know that the other runners have, and none of them have Magrid, so definitely one of the places. Ben giving the big pearl to his buddy there. His TheRPGchick is in Loon. Releasing her last mermaid statue, where she will find a stone. Yes. That is where our final... No, it was in, oh, the chest. There is King Magrid. King Magrid is in the left side tower. And that is where SilverStar is currently. So it looks like we are probably going to have a finisher fairly soon. Ben is still missing 2 stones, so he is going to find one here. However, he's still going to need that last stone. I'm not really sure which one he missed. Is it durian? It would have been durian, yeah? I thought he did durian. Sorry, I was having a private conversation here. Fortunately for SilverStar, Magrid is pretty late in the left tower. Finally having the lab door released so that GinTatsu can check those items. And the greenstone for Ben. SilverStar seems to have a pretty significant lead at this point, so barring anything going wrong, we should be seeing them enter the world of evil here within the next minute or so. It is possible that you do not have the renewable source. And there is go mode for SilverStar at 2:22:25. So he might be the first of our 8 racers to finish the game. Now the other 4 racing in the semifinals on SpeedGaming 2 are playing a different seed. So it's it could be anybody finishing up. They're not exactly playing the same one. So our racers could finish before any of the other side starts. But Hulk is playing in the other race, and as the creator and the world record holder of the NMG, I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to finish soon. This is going to be a fantastic end time for SilverStar. Yeah, they had such a nice seed yesterday. I'm really not upset about them getting a trolley one today. And we're going to see SilverStar easily hit that level 24. It has been a very fighting intensive seed today, so he is very, very close to so they're very, very close to level 24. TheRPGchick checking out to see what pedestal is. And SilverStar continues through the world of evil. And level 24. Very nice. GinTatsu heading down to the Light Shrine. Ben continuing through Act 2. RPGchick just needing one more stone and King Magrid. And SilverStar is walking up to fight the first of 2 death tolls. The first one, fairly simple. Oh, but does not have the right... does he not have his power bracelet on? His super bracelet? And here we go. About 12 or 13 hits with the Phoenix is going to take down Death Toll and restore peace to the world. I know it was first released in Japan, I believe in 91 or 92. It was released in Japan in 92, and then Europe and America in in Japan in like January of 92, and then it came out in America later on, like in August-ish, and then in 94 it was released in Europe. I actually did write that down. SilverStar about to finish off Death Toll. A couple more hits. And time, 2:26:51 for SilverStar, who will be going on to our final race. We're seeing who will take second and join SilverStar in the final. It will be a battle between 4. So our first 4 finishers, the 2 in this race and 2 in the race on SpeedGaming 1. Looks like Ben may be our second place finisher, as he's about to release Magrid as well. It's going to be like the free-for-all, 4 versus each other. And then the winner of that game will be our champion. They will win a beautiful perler made by RPGchick. And we're also going to raffle one off at 3 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to try and get SilverStar down here to do a little interview with us.
So SilverStar, that other seed right now, guys, we have TheBenjanator.
Okay, still trying to get SilverStar in here. Oh, and GinTatsu2 is on his way to World of Evil. I missed that. So it is going to be fairly close between Ben and GinTatsu. So we will see who is going to make it. This is pretty exciting. This is going to be pretty close. still working on getting SilverStar in, so we will finish watching the rest of this race as GinTatsu heads to Death Toll Part 1. And Ben stepping on the last possible portal. We are watching GinTatsu battling Death Toll 2. Ben is not heading to the world of evil, and I'm not sure why. Unless he might have needed a medical orb? I'm not sure. I don't think Ben realizes he's in go mode. I'm really not sure what Ben is looking for, to be honest. I don't think he knows he's in go mode, or he's looking for a medical orb, one of the two. GinTatsu, our second finisher. And our first two racers for the final, GinTatsu2 and SilverStar6609, will be going on to our finals here at 3 p.m. Eastern on SpeedGaming 1, I believe. So it'll be really exciting to see how the tournament finally finishes up. SilverStar, are you with me?
I am now.
Very good. GG's 2:26:51. That is a fantastic time.
Yeah, I was thinking that was probably my best time for about 100%.
Yeah, definitely. I actually think it was 100%, other than clearing out the world of evil.
Yep, there were a few items scattered around the world, and the items in World of Evil, and the last layer that I didn't need to open in Left Tower.
Yeah, definitely a challenging game trying to find the last stone. I was thinking it might have been a Pedsi considering how elusive the emblems were throughout the game, but luckily it was just a medical herb there, and RPGchick heading now to the world of evil.
Yep, I even checked the pedestal eventually. But I think I found the 6th stone at Chungus, actually. So I stopped checking items after that, which was pretty much only the chest on the ghost ship.
Yeah, it was Magrid Go mode today. That was pretty interesting. That was the Go mode for GinTatsu as well, and for RPGchick. And Ben as well, because I don't think he has yet spawned the castle.
I forget where the castle was. I think that was... He doesn't have right tower checked. That might have been it.
Yeah, possibly. But he usually checks right tower pretty quick. Oh, he doesn't have the VIP card yet.
Yeah, he's missing VIP card. That's how I know. I wasn't watching it.
Yeah, no. I know. And Lei Hulk is the first finisher of our tournament on SG2. So you, GinTatsu, and Lei Hulk will be playing at 3 p.m. Just gotta wait to see who our last contestant shall be. Looks like they might have had a pretty trolly seed on SpeedGaming too as well. TheRPGchick is getting ready to head into Death Toll. So overall, how did you find the seed?
It was pretty good.
Yeah, hello.
GinTatsu GG's.
Hold on. I think I need to reset Discord again.
Okay, GinTatsu will be back with us in a moment. I know watching the 4 streams at once, it was pretty exciting to see who was going to make the loom play first, because we had seen all the other areas that will, except for that one. So making that play was definitely a very good choice.
Hey guys,
Hey, GinTatsu, welcome.
welcome. Where's King Magrid at?
He was in Left Tower.
I know. I spent forever looking for that guy.
Yeah, he was very elusive. He was go mode for everybody, actually. Ben's still trying to wait. Ben has access. I don't know what Ben's doing, to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't want to go item hunting until I had that final NPC, just in case, I found one of those items along the way, but man, he was hiding something fierce.
Yeah, for sure.
It was pretty strongly linear up until Magrid's, really.
Yeah, you guys were definitely bottlenecked for the longest time. It was a lot of you guys all kind of in the same areas, like with the forest Lenol and all that. That was pretty frustrating.
That wasn't too bad considering all we had.
Was that Silver?
I said that it wasn't bad considering all we had. We had, what was this, on Tetsu, we had soul armor for, pretty much the whole thing.
Yeah, that soul armor really helped.
It just went by really fast.
The recovery split was nice too.
I was really hopeful for a sub 2 entering World 6, but just
right?
Turned up.
It was at like 140 when I started looking for Magrid. I swear. By the way, GG to you. Much appreciated. Good stuff.
Yeah, GG to you too.
Guess we'll see you in the finals.
Yeah, we'll both be there. Although I think first place will only be me or Hulk. I think I think what it is the finals match is actually 2v2s. So it'll be like me versus Hulk and you versus whoever's second in the other race.
Oh, interesting. I was wondering how that was going to work out. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I just do what they tell me and then play the game.
I don't think Ben has access to the dancing grandmas, and that's why, because all 3 of his red hot items are still lit up. So I think that's probably what he's looking for right now. Which everybody had that pretty early on. Not sure.
Oh yeah, I went and visited the king like as soon as possible.
Yeah, he has held a gem for me, a stone for me, more often than not.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to risk it. All right, well, I'm gonna bounce on out of here, get ready, have some lunch, and prepare for the next one.
Very nice. GG's again. Can't wait to see the finals. And you guys both did really, really great. Very, very nice times. It was very good.
Yep, I'm happy with it. Thanks. We'll catch you guys in a bit.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you. See ya.
And I think RPGchick is going to prepare for doing comms for the final, so she won't be joining us today, but you will get a chance to hear her at the final race at 3 p.m. Eastern. Still do not have our second place finisher in Lehulk's race, and still hanging out with Ben here, trying to see if he can get his pathway to the Dancing Grandmas. Not sure why he's checking items though. Oh, he still needs the VIP pass. That's correct. Okay. Oh, Orpheus finished. Okay. Must have missed that one. Very cool. Yeah, Magrid was definitely hiding, but we know his wife wears the pants in the relationship, so she probably is the one that hid him away. Oh, Ben thinks the VIP card is in the World of Evil. I don't even remember where the VIP card was. That was so long ago. And Orpheus's finish time was 2:43:40. So he will be facing GinTatsu2 and Lehulk, and SilverStar will be in the finale to find first place. I seem to think VIP card was super, super early. Like in Act 1 or 2. I'm not sure where. And Emblem A, found in the World of Evil. And Emblem D. Yeah, it was definitely pretty early in the game where we found the VIP. Stormy has done at 2:45:24. GG to Stormy Galaxies. So if you enjoyed what you saw today, please be sure to give our runners a follow. They have really put on a good show for you. It's a little intimidating coming on Speed Gaming, playing a game that the community really doesn't know much about. So we really appreciate your support and everybody hanging in with us through this tournament. Everyone has put in so much hard work to bring it to you, and we're all super, super excited. TheBenjanator, GinTatsu2, TheRPGchick, and SilverStar. Really appreciate the games you played today and all of your skills showing. And of course, Lehulk, Stormy Galaxies, Netta, and DNK. DNK was our commentator. And Orvi is playing over on Speed Gaming too. It's been really, really exciting, and we really, really appreciate everybody kind of showing up for each of the races and being so positive and excited and asking questions. It really means a lot to us. So again, if you are really interested in the game, please feel free to message any one of us. We are more than happy to help you get set up and play. We always have little pickup games here and there. We're all around the world, so all different time zones. So please don't hesitate to contact one of us if you're really getting the urge to pick up the game. Ben continuing his quest in World of Evil, looking for that elusive VIP card, which ironically is his most favorite section of the game to play, is that VIP tower, and that appears to be where our pathway to the Dancing Grandmas is going to be. And as you can see, when the Dancing Grandmas are not activated, the extra world that we're going to come up and see here in a second is just not there. Like, you can go all through dazzling space and everything and get as far as you can to the very, very top, but you are not going to be able to enter Death Tool's lair. Which is, believe it or not, a very easy mistake to make. And magic armor. And just a Minocorp in that final chest. He knows it's that tower. Staring at it. Not sure where that VIP card could be. Yeah, that's the hard part about this game. You could just miss one tiny element and it could just completely devastate your run. Unfortunately, Ben is forfeiting with this race. Let's see if he wants to come in and have a little chat. But yeah, that is kind of the frustrating thing. Unfortunately, just missing one layer could end up screwing up your whole run. And the VIP card turned out to be a very required item because most of the game was 100%. So it is really heartbreaking to see when you've put in so much work and you've cleared everything and it's just one thing that you can't find. So that is kind of the heartbreaking thing of Rando. And unfortunately, it happens to all of us. So we're definitely going to bring Ben in, have a little chat, put on a great show for us. He really worked hard to try and get there to the end, and he has worked so hard in this tournament. So definitely want to bring him in and kind of give him a round of applause for as far as he made it in the tournament and everything that he's done. He's been my co-commentator for the previous 3 races, commentated my race, and it was pretty fun to finish out the tournament with him. So I'm going to take a second and pull him in here, and I will be right back. Benjanator.
Ugh. That's all I have to say. Where was I couldn't find the card.
It was way back at the beginning, and that's the thing. And I was telling our listeners here that Bright Tower is your jam. That is your favorite place in the whole entire world to go.
That's why I was. You know what it was? On my notebook, on notebook percent, I had it marked as 1. I just didn't know where it was. Like I knew that there was this like an item spot that I probably missed. So I really had no idea, and I was kind of just pouring back because my guess is that there was a pathway to the king in there.
Yeah, you were missing to get to the dancing grandmas, correct?
Yeah, it was just like I think it was like a boy or something like that. One of the pathway things.
Oh, they're saying the snail kid was the one that had the VIP card.
Did I not talk to the snail kid? Or
Oh,
is that what it is?
I guarantee
my God.
you'll never not talk to him again.
Yeah, I you know, when I released him, I must have not marked that down. So that's a notebook percent fail on my part.
Because there towards the end, I saw you pick up your 6 stone just as GinTatsu was heading to the World of Evil. I was like, we got a race, it's on. And then I saw you start kind of checking around other places. I'm like, what's he doing?
I know, that's because I felt like I was yeah, because I thought I was moving along okay. But I mean, I felt like I was being pretty efficient. But then like you get to the end, and I was just like, I don't have the VIP card, and I started panicking. Like I figured that was something, and then I was looking at old places, and I went to the World of Evil. It's like maybe it was there, so I was like, ugh. So
I mean, that would make sense though, because how often have we found required items in the World of Evil after you get the 6 stones? I mean, that definitely wasn't a bad choice. Unfortunately, it just wasn't where it was. You know, it was still a great
snail
run.
kid. Oh yeah, I mean, I don't feel bad about it. I just feel dumb about the missing the snail kid thing.
Hey, it happens to the best of us. We've all forgotten an NPC or 2, and often it doesn't even matter. You know, it's often a medic orb until it isn't, and that stinks.
Yeah, because I mean, otherwise, I felt pretty good about the seed. I felt like I was being pretty efficient. It's just that, like, at the end, it was just kind of like, ugh. So.
Yeah, it was very, very bottlenecked throughout the entire run, and what kind of set SilverStar a little bit apart went to Loon a little bit earlier than everyone else. But SilverStar had kind of was a little faster through the other worlds, so it just happened that you know, you were bottlenecked into that place. You had nowhere else you could go, and like Forest Lionel and then Loon. I mean, that's a nightmare. But you guys had some really great items from the start. Like, and I noticed you didn't have the blade. I'll be all right.
The critical sword? Or
yeah, the
sword,
sword showed up pretty early too, but finding that Z sword early was really, really nice. And then the super bracelet. So that was pretty exciting. And I think like just the excitement of all the awesome items just kind of let it slip that VIP card was with the snail kid, and just the irony of it being VIP Tower, your favorite place in the whole entire world.
Where was the spirit sword? I didn't find that. I'm
pretty sure it was in the right tower.
It was in the right tower. Okay. that makes all kinds of sense. Okay,
Yeah.
so it was literally the NPC that cost me this tournament was the snail kid. I figured as much. Either he has something really important I don't get him, or most of the time he's got nothing. So it's oh well.
Yeah, but it was
everything else I feel okay with. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a good time.
It was a really, really good race to watch. It was exciting, and so this evening, in about an hour, we have Lay Hulk and SilverStar facing off for first place, and GinTatsu and Orpheus for second. And don't forget, we are giving away that amazing percent perler made by the beautiful RPG-chick. So that is pretty exciting, and I believe she's actually going to commentate the finals, so it'll be really fun to hear that and
awesome.
get to see everything. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was a fun tournament, and it'll be exciting to see it wrap up and see who wins.
Oh, for sure, yeah, and yeah, it was also a lot of fun commentating with you, Jinx. I hope we get to do it again in the future.
You as well, Ben. That's why I'm kind of excited that I get to wrap up this stream with you here by my side, as you've been for the last couple days, almost 24 hours straight. So on behalf of on behalf
I think between us we've gotten probably about like I don't know. I actually did sleep pretty well last night, but the night before that, I was just that was not the case for me. So
yeah, I definitely fell asleep at 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon and woke up 7 o'clock this morning because it just it took everything. But on behalf of the Soul Blazer Rando community, we like to thank you all for tuning in and hanging out with us and letting us put on a little show for you. Please remember to give our runners a follow and tune in for the finals between Lay Hulk, SilverStar, GinTatsu, and Orpheus. It has been a pleasure hanging out with you guys and answering your questions and seeing excitement. And we hope that we can do this again soon, and that maybe more people will join us. So I'm going to sign off here now. Ben, if you'd like to close us out, that would be great. Another thanks to Astolia for being our restreamer. We had a little bit of problems in the beginning, but got that all worked out. So thanks again, and hopefully we catch you all soon.
Yeah, thanks all of you guys for watching. It's been a real pleasure in this tournament, even though you had to finish off watching this race with me forgetting about the snail kid. It's going to happen. But yeah, I'd like to thank Netta for setting this up. I'd like to thank Hulk for making this randomizer. I'd like to thank everybody who's come and watched this, because I think that there's been a lot of people that have didn't even know that this was a randomizer that now know it's a case. And I'd like to thank RPGchick again for making those perlers. It's amazing. And everybody that was just really kind of cooperative this weekend. It was a lot of matches sort of back to back. So I hope you guys enjoy watching the finals. I guess RPGchick and Jinx are going to be taking care of that. I'm going to be thankfully watching it just for funsies. And thank you all for being part of this experience. So stay tuned. In an hour, we're going to be having the finals.